Welcome back to the Spangled Beauty Ladder Quilt Along. We are on the week of May 19th. Today we're going to work on the applique frames 1 and 2 and the summer cherries. I have all my fabric prepped and my vinyl in my bags. Make sure that you put that fusible backing on the back of the fabrics as indicated. The frames also use some ribbon from the Embellishment Kit. I measured and cut these yesterday, and I put some of this fray check on the ends of the ribbons. You just dab a little bit on each end. It dries clear to keep it from fraying once it's on the quilt. In case this is your first time joining or watching one of these videos, when you get to the trimming instructions for each block, look at that trim size, 6.5 by 6.5, and cut your project batting 1 inch bigger. So this one needs project batting 7.5 by 7.5. I'm going to cut my project batting for each of my blocks, put them in the bags, and we're going to get started. The Summer Cherries block also uses Flexi Foam. If you don't have Flexi Foam on hand, you can order it. I'll put a link in the description box below. Or if you're in a pinch, if you have some soft and stable, that will work. And you can also double up your project batting if you've got nothing else to use. That'll give it that little bit of extra loft and make those cherries pop. I'll be using the Flexi Foam today. Go ahead and hoop your light mesh cutaway embroidery stabilizer. I have mine in an 8x8 hoop today. The design for the applique frame number 1, it does show it as 5x7 and smaller for the stitch out. But when I put my 5x7 hoop on my machine, it didn't like it. It wanted a bigger hoop. That's why I'm using this hoop. Let's load our first file together in case it's anybody's first time. I'm on a Baby Lock Meridian. I'm going to hit my embroidery button. My files are on USB. Then I need to find my Spangled Beauty folder. I am doing the background quilting, so we're going to look at the instructions. We need the KDQ 408 Floral 6x6 design. KDQ 408. 6x6. On my machine, I want to hit the set button and then the add button. Back to my USB, Spangled Beauty, embroidery files, and I need to find applique frame 1. That's this one right here, the square one. We'll go ahead and hit set. It centers it for me. Everything's ready. We're going to walk through applique frame 1 together. Then applique frame 2, I'll go ahead and record, but put it set to music. It's going to be the same steps. And then we'll go through the cherry block together since that's got the Flexi Foam. I need to hit the embroidery button. Now we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and move through all the background quilting and the background fabric, the applique. I'll slow it down when we get to the vinyl and the ribbon. Once your satin outline is done, we're going to get ready to do the vinyl. The first step for the vinyl is the pocket placement line. It's going to stitch out a little line like that, and that's where we're going to be putting our vinyl. Get your vinyl ready. I can see that there's some markings on it. I want to go ahead and clean that off first. I've got an eyeglass cleaning cloth. I'm going to take a little bit of time and make sure I get all those little markings off. What we want to do is place the pocket vinyl aligning one edge with the top ends of the placement line. It's hard to see because it's dark blue on dark blue. You'll probably have to pull this off your machine. Look for the top ends. You'll line up your vinyl and then you'll put down a piece of tape. Once you have that top edge lined up, put your bottom tape on first. That was the easiest for me. And then run a piece of tape on both sides. I've got my vinyl trimmed. There's a thread change. We're getting ready to stitch our ribbon placement line. Make sure you change the color of your thread. We want to take our ribbon, find the center point. Once you've got the center, it's going to go right over that placement line. And we want to tape it. We don't want that to get caught under the embroidery machine presser foot. Once you've got that taped, we're going to stitch the tack down line. This block is done. We are going to trim it at the end though. What I'm going to do is take my ribbon and tuck it into the photo frame pocket because I don't want to accidentally cut off my ribbon. You can tape it out of the way. That works too. I've got the ends tucked in. We're going to move on to frame number 2. I'll go ahead and record for frame number 2, but I'm not going to stop it all along the way. We'll pick up again when we start doing the cherry block. We're ready to stitch the Summer Cherries block. I'm going to go ahead and move through loading the file and the background quilting and the first few steps, and we'll pick up at regular speed at the Flexi Foam. I've stitched out the cherry placement line. You want to get your Flexi Foam and some tape, cover up that line, make sure that's covered, and then tape this down and press the tape really good, and don't walk away from your machine. Whenever you're doing Flexi Foam or the shape form, I highly recommend you do not walk away from your machine. This is all going to stitch inside. It's taped down really well. Probably not going to have a problem, but every once in a while weird things happen. A thread gets caught, something gets snagged, and this little puffy piece yanks up and you get a mess on your hands. Once it's taped down, go ahead and stitch that tack down line. Once that's stitched down, go ahead and pull your project off your machine, take off the tape, and then you're going to trim around just like it was a piece of applique. I have everything trimmed. I have my hoop in my lap. It's easier for filming. You're going to want to put your fabric over first, and we're going to tape that down. Once you have that taped down, grab your vinyl, check it, make sure there's no fuzzies, there's nothing on it, make sure it's nice and clean. I already did that. Make sure you don't have anything on your fabric that's going to get caught under the vinyl. Put that right on top, and then tape this across the top and bottom just like you did your fabric. I have everything taped in place. I'm going to go back to my machine. It's going to stitch a tack down line around both cherries, and we're going to trim the excess off of both, and then after that we move on to the leaves. Once your tack down line's trimmed, go ahead and trim off that fabric and vinyl, and then we'll move on to the leaves. The cherry block is done. One thing I noticed with the fabric and the vinyl, the instructions said to put down the fabric, tape it, put down the vinyl, tape it, and then run the tack down, which I did. It ran over it once, and I figured that was it. There was actually a second line after that in my embroidery machine where it could have gone around and tacked down a second time. It did fine with the one line. I'm not sure how that'll show on your machine, but just be aware of it. It might go around twice. We're going to trim our blocks. I have my rotating cutting mat. This one is by Omnigrid. Kimberbell also has a rotating cutting mat. I'll link them both in the description box below. I am going to use the orange pop rulers and my rotary cutter. For the cherry block, it says to trim to 6.5 inch square. I'm going to line up my 6.5 and then put a larger one on the outside so I have somewhere to rest my hand. You can use your threads to line up. They were a little hard to see. Make sure you hold that down. Push your rotary cutter all the way to the left and turn. The cherry block is cut. I like to put them back in their bags, keep them clean. We're going to trim our frame blocks, tie the bow, and then put in some really silly pictures. Here's applique frame block number 1. Make sure your ribbons are out of the way. This one is also 6.5 inch square. Frame block number 1. Frame block number 2, 6.5 by 8.5. This is holding the ribbon out of the way. I couldn't get it tucked in easily. Got our frame blocks. We want to go ahead and tie our bows. I am really not the best at tying bows. I feel like there's way too much ribbon here. I'll definitely trim it down once it's in the quilt. Don't use a glue gun. It could melt the vinyl. I'll secure it with fabric glue. Actually, I'm going to tie this one after I put the picture in. It's right at the top. Since this is a patriotic quilt, it's a great opportunity to put in pictures of friends or family who've maybe served in the armed forces. Maybe you have pictures of kids or grandkids from picnics and fun functions that happen around the 4th of July or a patriotic holiday. We have animals. I'm putting in pictures of our chickens. I printed these on plain paper since they're going behind vinyl. They haven't been color corrected or anything. This is Mama Chicken wearing her Kimberbell pet kerchief that says, "I'm the reason we can't have nice things." I'll put a link below for the Kimberbell kerchiefs. Mama is our biggest chicken. She is a Plymouth Rock chicken, and she does not like to share the nesting box with anybody. She will be out there and squawk and make so much noise. You run out to see what's wrong. It's nothing. She's just yelling at everybody. Here's Mama Chicken in applique frame block number 1. This chicken is named Phyllis Diller. She's a Polish chicken. I know the lighting isn't great on these, but you can look up Polish chickens and see the fancy hair, and that's why we named her Phyllis Diller. She's wearing the Your Possum pet kerchief. We slid that in there. Now we need to tie the bow for this one. Since it's on the top, it was hard to tie it, and again, I probably need to tie it upside down. It just comes out better that way. That's kind of fun. It looks like she has a bow on her head. So there is Phyllis Diller. And Mama Chicken, my applique frame blocks 1 and 2. Thank you for joining me again this week for our Star Spangled Beauty quilt along. Come back next week. We're going to work on the horizontal and vertical lace stripes and the C to C block. Let me know how your blocks went for you this week. I'd love to hear what kind of pictures you're putting in your quilt. Please leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.